So friends, today I'm going to explain a recently released supernatural horror movie which is called Ba, meaning father. The movie is quite interesting with a very different concept. You'll really enjoy watching it. In this movie, there is a man who somehow becomes a Grim Reaper, and to make his daughter survive, he has to do something very dangerous. I hope you'll definitely like this movie. So let's not waste any more time and move straight to the movie. The story begins by showing us a dark hooded figure who while walking arrives at a hospital. After this, he goes into a ward where there is an old man. Looking at this old man, it seemed like he had been very sick for many days. Anyway, as soon as this old man sees the hooded figure, he starts panicking. After that, the hooded figure holds the old man's hand, and right there the old man dies. After this, we see this hooded man leaving outside, where he removes his hood, but because of the darkness we cannot see his face. After this, we are shown a scene from 6 months earlier, where inside a car, we see a single father named Daniel who is driving. With him are his daughter Colette and their dog Charles. Now here, both of them seem very happy, but as the story goes forward, we realize that Daniel is actually homeless, meaning he had no house to live in, and that's why he was relying on his friend Greg. That Greg would let them stay until they settle down, or at least for a few days. Now here, let me tell you that Daniel used to be a dancer by profession. But because of some injuries, his entire career was finished. And just a few days earlier, Daniel had to leave his flat because he couldn't pay the rent. Anyway, now Daniel calls Greg, but Greg clearly refuses, saying that he cannot let them stay, because Daniel also had his dog with him, and he didn't want them staying there with the dog. But Daniel didn't want to leave his dog alone either. And because of this, Daniel had to go away from there, but he couldn't tell this truth to his daughter. After this, they arrive at a parking lot, and that night they were going to spend the night there. Now, next to their car, there was another car parked, which drove away as night fell. But under that car, there was a bag lying in that parking spot. Now Daniel goes near it and out of curiosity opens the bag. Inside, he finds a box. And inside that box, there was a note which said that as soon as you take the money, you will be bound to a job that you will have to do for the rest of your life. Seeing this, Daniel is a little shocked. Now he checks inside that box further and finds money. There was a lot of money inside, seeing which Daniel is stunned. But for now, he repacks the bag, leaves it there, and comes back to his car. Now the next day, Daniel is very curious whether that bag is still there or not. He goes to check, and the bag is still lying there. The biggest thing was the money inside the bag was still there. Now Daniel takes that money out and puts the bag in his car. But inside the car, neither his daughter nor the dog Charles were there. So he starts looking for them outside. He finds his dog, but the moment he touches him, the dog dies instantly. Daniel cannot understand how this happened. Then he sees his reflection, where instead of his own face, he sees a skull. Seeing this, he is terrified. Just then, his daughter arrives there, and when she looks at her father, she also sees a skull face. Seeing this, his daughter runs away in fear, and Daniel also panics, wondering what has happened. So he goes back into the car and checks the bag. Inside it, he finds another note. This note said that until he repays the debt 11 times, he will appear as death to the world, and whoever he touches will die. In simple words, Daniel had now become a Grim Reaper, or in other words, a messenger of death. Seeing all this, Daniel is completely shaken. So first, he covers his face with a cap and a cloth. He even covers his fingertips with clothing, so no one would die if he touched them. After this, he goes to his daughter and tells her to sit in the car. And that's why they say you should always read the full instructions, because nobody leaves behind so much money for no reason. Anyway, he meets his daughter, now fully covered, and tells her to sit in the car. After this, we are shown a scene from 6 months later, where we again see that same hooded man, who is none other than Daniel himself. Yes, and because Daniel had become a Grim Reaper, he now had to do this work, which means whoever was sick or about to die, he had to give them death. This was his work, and through this, he had to repay 11 times the money he had taken. Here, Daniel gives death to the same old man we saw in the beginning of the movie. After this, once he kills the old man, his soul goes on its eternal journey. At this moment, Daniel receives a token, which he has to hand over to the supernatural agent. And he has to keep doing this until he repays his entire debt. We learn that Daniel was also doing a part-time job to cover his daughter's expenses, working in a shop owned by a man named Sonny. Sonny couldn't see properly, so Daniel could actually be in front of him without covering his face. Now you might be wondering, how did Daniel get trapped in this? Well, the moment he took the money, the deal was signed. Daniel had to work as a Grim Reaper because he didn't read the second note in time. And you might also be thinking, how did he know who his victims were? Every night, a name would appear somewhere on Daniel's body, and through that he would know exactly whose life he had to take. Daniel could return to his normal self, but for that he would have to work honestly until the debt was fully paid. And only after the day's work ended would he briefly become human again. After this, he goes to that same agent and gives him the token. Now the next scene comes where we see Colette. She lived with her father, but both of them stayed in separate rooms. Also, Colette didn't go to school. Because of her father's problems, she had no friends, and on top of that, she couldn't even meet her dad properly. In the evening, Colette tells her father that they have run out of food. So Daniel goes to Sonny's shop, where instead of Sonny, a lady was working that day. Daniel asks about Sonny, but that lady doesn't know anything. So Daniel steals some food and runs away. One day, Daniel returns home, and a lady from Child Protection Services arrives. She wants to talk about Colette, asking why Daniel doesn't send her to school. Daniel makes up excuses. Here, Daniel is sitting with his entire face covered. And whenever anyone asked why he kept his face covered, he always said he had a skin disease which could spread to others. Anyway, at night, Daniel does his work again, handing the token to the agent. After that, he goes to Sonny's shop, because in front of Sonny, he didn't need to cover his face since Sonny couldn't see well. While working, suddenly a name appears on his hand, which means it was time to take someone's life. That night, Daniel returns home and goes to his own room. Meanwhile, his daughter is in her room trying to sleep. But suddenly, someone comes into her room. Seeing this, she screams. Daniel runs from the other room and asks what happened. She says she saw that skeleton-like man again. Hearing this, Daniel tells her it must have been just a nightmare. But we see that his daughter is often haunted by this skeleton-like figure, and most likely this is happening because of Daniel. The next day, Colette is at home when the Child Protection Services lady comes again, calling her from outside. Seeing this, Colette gets nervous. The lady comes inside and starts asking Colette questions. She just wanted to make sure that Colette wasn't in any trouble. But Colette starts talking to her, telling her about her imaginary friends. Daniel is listening to all of this. So he comes out, his face covered, and tells the lady to leave. He doesn't want anyone disturbing him or his daughter. The lady says she just wants to ask a few questions and then she'll leave. Later that night, Daniel is working again when suddenly someone comes near him and screams loudly. This keeps happening many times. Random unknown people screaming at him. When he asks the agent about it, the agent explains that these are all lost souls. After death, they panic because nobody else can see them. But Daniel, being a Grim Reaper, could see them. Daniel then asks, what if he doesn't give the token to the agent for 24 hours? Will the deal break and he become normal again? The agent says no, but if he does that, he'll have to lose his own life. After this, Daniel goes to Sonny's shop where that same girl is working, and this time a police officer is also present there. The girl tells the police that Daniel is the thief. Hearing this, the police run after him and even catch him. They try to remove the cover from his face, but Daniel somehow escapes. He quickly goes to his daughter and runs away with her. Now he tells his daughter that they will leave this place and go somewhere else. Later, we see Daniel entering the house of the same old man whose life he had taken at the beginning of the movie. For the time being, he was going to stay there. Later, we learn that his daughter wants to become a dancer, so she starts practicing. We also know that Daniel used to be a dancer himself, so now we understand where her interest came from. Daniel encourages his daughter. But in the meantime, another name appears on Daniel's body. This means he had to go take another person's life. He quickly leaves, but his daughter follows him. Daniel tries to explain to her not to follow. She asks him where he goes every night if he is a cop. Daniel tells her yes. He makes Colette sit in one place and tells her not to move, then leaves. The next morning comes, and Daniel has not yet returned, which means he was late in doing his work. Colette wakes up and finds herself in the forest, where scary sounds are coming. Hearing this, she runs, where she finds her father sitting. But Daniel's face was uncovered, so Colette sees his skull face. Frightened, she runs. Daniel runs after her, trying to stop her, but Colette reaches a construction site. Some workers stop her, and police officers are also there. Daniel comes with his face covered. Colette says he is not her father. Daniel says that he is her father, but a worker comes to stop Daniel. Accidentally, Daniel touches him, and the worker dies on the spot. Seeing this, Daniel gets scared and runs away. Then the scene changes. The Child Protection Services lady is now going to send Colette to a foster home. She feels Daniel cannot take proper care of her. The biggest thing was, Colette herself could not recognize her father anymore. For now, she would stay with that lady. Obviously, Colette was very scared. She didn't know that the terrifying man was actually her dad. For now, the situation had become such that she couldn't accept anything. On the other hand, we see Daniel with Sunny. While talking, Daniel learns that Sunny is sick and won't live long. After this, Daniel is seen outside, completely hopeless. He is badly trapped. Later, Daniel secretly watches his daughter, who now has a new family, the Child Protection Services lady and her husband. He sees her eating with them. Daniel feels happy that his daughter is now in a good home, because he himself could never give her a proper life. But he also feels a little sad and quietly leaves. After Daniel leaves, we see Colette going to her room. The lady's husband stops her and tells her to finish her dinner. He asks her to pass something to him, but Colette ignores him, lost in thought. Seeing this, the man gets very angry and shouts at her. We realize that he is an aggressive person, not suitable for Colette's future. Later, we see Colette with a bruise on her cheek, clearly caused by that man. On the other side, Daniel is with Sunny in the hospital. Sunny asks him about his daughter. Daniel says she is with her new family. Sunny asks why he looks so sad. Daniel says Sunny wouldn't believe him if he told him the truth. Suddenly, Sunny's name appears on Daniel's body. This means it was Sunny's time. Daniel touches him and Sunny dies. Now Daniel can see his soul, which is about to go through the portal into the eternal journey. Sunny realizes Daniel is a Grim Reaper. Before leaving, Sunny says goodbye to Daniel and tells him to go to his daughter, because she is his real family. At this point, Daniel decides to take a chance. This time, he keeps Sunny's token instead of giving it to the agent. When 24 hours pass, Daniel becomes normal again. But now, a masked man comes after him to take his life. That man is also a Grim Reaper. He chases Daniel, but Daniel wants to go to his daughter. Daniel secretly goes into his daughter's room, where she is sleeping. He turns on the lamp, and Colette wakes up. Seeing her father, she becomes very happy. Daniel tells her he has come to meet her for the last time. Colette says he promised never to leave her. Hearing this, Daniel decides to take her away. He takes her outside. Hearing the noise, the lady's husband wakes up with a gun and runs after them. He shoots Daniel. Daniel somehow keeps moving forward with his daughter. But after a short distance, another Grim Reaper appears. That Grim Reaper kills the lady's husband because he was interfering. After that, the Grim Reaper chases Daniel. Daniel fights with him and wins. Then the scene changes. We see Daniel with Colette. Both of them are fine and happy. But suddenly, their dog Charles also comes running to them. Daniel looks at his own hands and finds blood. This means what he was seeing was only his last glimpse before death. The truth was, the Grim Reaper had already killed him. His time had come. Daniel stands in front of the portal, where his daughter is crying and watching him. In fact, she could actually see him. Daniel apologizes to her, saying he cannot stay with her forever. Then Daniel leaves on his eternal journey into the afterlife. After this, we are shown a scene 6 months later. Colette is learning dance. Suddenly, she sees the spirit of her father, who had come to see her. Seeing her father, Colette becomes very happy. which means, in some way, Daniel kept his promise. He was watching over her from heaven. And with this, the movie Ba ends. So friends, this was the story of the movie Ba, which means father. This movie gives us a very deep message. Through metaphors, it shows us a dark reality. Basically, it holds up a mirror showing that in the race of greed, guilt, and survival instincts, humans are destroying their own humanity. The concept of the eviction notice in the movie is a symbol of the inevitable end that no one can escape. Death and destruction will always chase you, no matter how much you try to run. And that line, "Until you have paid back 11 times what you have taken," represents society's distorted justice system, where for one mistake or one small act of greed or need, you have to suffer again and again. If you see Daniel's case, he just needed money badly. He found a bag. At first, he only opened it and saw money, but still left it there. He waited, thinking someone else might take it. But when nobody came, he finally took it, hoping to support his daughter and protect his dignity. His daughter had no idea how bad their situation was. Daniel's only small mistake was reading the second note too late, because of which he became a grim reaper. Just like in real life, when someone badly needs money, they borrow it. But later, they have to return it many times over, along with suffering insults. That's exactly what the movie shows. The most interesting question is, who left that bag in the first place? Maybe the previous Grim Reaper passed on the curse to someone else. Maybe that was the only way out. If someone willingly picked up the bag, the curse would shift to them. That's exactly what happened with Daniel. For a small mistake, for a little greed, he had to suffer again and again. And in the end, death was his only way out. And this curse, that anything you touch will die, is a metaphor for isolation and guilt. Meaning, because of your actions, you become so toxic that even your presence becomes a danger to others. You always end up spreading negativity. And the final point, to the world you will appear as death, the Grim Reaper. This is a symbolic reflection that your identity is lost, and you become only a face of fear and destruction. Like in the movie, even his own daughter Colette was terrified of him. So overall, the movie shows that when humans get trapped in greed, desperation, and selfish decisions, they destroy everything around them, and themselves become a living curse. This is something you may have noticed in real life as well. So I hope you understood this film and liked it. Personally, I found it very interesting and emotional. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I'll meet you all again with the next video.